CGTN's Guy Henderson, he is live in Benghazi. Guy, what is the latest on the fighting there?
Well, it's ongoing and it appears to be escalating. I think one thing that's worth pointing out here and just making a note of is, as it does so, the almost daily figures that humanitarian agencies, particularly the United Nations, is putting out now. I won't give you all the figures, but they're coming out daily, and two comparative figures that might just give you an idea of what's happening on the ground in Tripoli. Bear in mind, of course, that we are in Benghazi, so we have not seen this conflict firsthand. But a week ago, the UN was saying 174 people dead, 18,000 people displaced. And the latest figures, which have come out on Monday, 254 dead, 32,000 displaced. That's 14,000 people on the move who've been displaced in Libya. Many of them, of course, are civilians, women and children who are trying to get away from that fighting. Now, some of those are internally displaced people. The United Nations has managed to assist some people in moving away from the most intensely, the areas where the most intense fighting has taken place. There's still thought to be a lot of people trapped, even if they have been able to move some way from their homes, still not being able to make it completely out of the conflict zone. And there's also been UN flights now taking people outside of the country to Niger in the last few days as well. So not just internally displaced people, people now actually having to leave Libya. So the fighting is intensifying, the humanitarian situation is getting worse.
And we know that the LNA forces control parts of southern Tripoli. Currently, what positions does each side have?
It's pretty difficult to tell, to be honest, certainly from here. You have all these claims and counter-claims, a lot of disinformation, with each side claiming it has made gains. That is something that the UN government of Fayez al-Sarraj has been claiming in this counter-attack which was launched over the weekend. The LNA obviously coming back and saying, no, we're the ones making gains. So it's really pretty difficult to tell. Certainly the front lines seem to be across neighbourhoods in southern Tripoli. We've heard a lot of reports about heavy shelling during the day, overnight, in the Ain Zara district, the Al-Swani district, Abu Salim as well, but also a lot of violence back and a lot of fighting back from that frontline area just within the suburbs of southern Tripoli, because of course there's airstrikes as part of this conflict as well. Along the coast east of Tripoli, we've also heard confirmation from both sides of UN-backed government airstrikes on LNA positions on one of their sort of supply bases at least 100 or 150 kilometres south of Tripoli. So that's another area where there's been violence and fighting. And then, of course, we've even had reports in the south of Libya, way away from the front line, reports of an attack by a militia, and apparently GN, that is the Tripoli government, a backed militia attacking an LNA airbase in the south of Libya, which the LNA then took back. And also in the sort of lawless southern area of Libya, perhaps as many as 2 attacks on softer targets carried out by the Islamic State. Limited presence, but still some presence, we think. So the further you get away from the front line, the blurrier the lines of control become.
You've seen some of Haftar's forces up close, Guy. Are they a big threat?
Yeah, I mean, we visited a military academy, so essentially the next generation of graduates coming into Haftar's force, and it was a pretty professional outfit. A military boot camp. There were drills, regiments, ranks. We actually saw the young cadets sitting written exams. So everything about this particular barracks had the feel of a proper professional army. Certainly not a militia, as perhaps was the case a few years ago when this force was being originally assembled by General Haftar. What, of course, I don't have information on is what's happening further forward on the front line. People who will have been recruited into the LNA quite hastily at a time when Islamists were taking over this city. Some of them former army officers and rank and file from the pre-revolution days, some of them revolutionaries, militias. We've heard reports of some Salafists within the LNA as well, perhaps. So a whole mixture of different forces. And of course, the other point is that in these sort of newly won territories and areas that have been taken by Haftar in recent months, you know, the professionalism of the groups that are coming under the LNA umbrella from those newly gained territories, you know, also questionable and not entirely clear.
All right, Guy Henderson live for us there in Benghazi.